You know it, and I know it, that there is something undeniably creepy and unsettling about underwater levels in video games. From seemingly never-ending dark blue voids that evoke our fear of the unknown and vast emptiness, to claustrophobic tight spaces caverned away underneath the depths of the surface, the unconfirmed entity or creature that could quite possibly be lurking as you turn your character around in levels like these would completely terrify me as a kid. The idea that you can't move as fast, you have limited time due to your health bar slowly depleting, and can't possibly outswim what may or may not be behind you in these kind of levels just completely freaked me out. And I mean, I can't really blame myself. Look at the times. I grew up during the prime of the Nintendo 64, and with the revolutionary technology a system like this allowed for us to have and behold, it gave us these new 3D open world maps for the first time ever. At an age of curiosity and the eagerness to venture beyond our limitations, combined with this new opportunity of a video game 3D exploration, we were simply too excited to not think before holding our characters' breaths and begin swimming downwards into the unknown. So today, let's take a look at the creepiness of underwater levels in video games. There were a ton of games that gave me the creeps that had underwater levels. From Donkey Kong 64 to Banjo Tooie, we would all shiver upon entering that new world or level that you knew was going to be impossible to complete without getting in that damn water. However, despite all the available games at the time that had these type of levels, there was one level specifically that scared the shit out of me. And that level is Jolly Roger Bay in Super Mario 64. And oh no, not just the level. Hold up. Not just the level. Nope, not only the extremely wide open area of underwater emptiness that was by far the most open area of exploration in the game, not just the ringing alarm sound effect that would trigger upon Mario's soon and certain drowning death due to swimming too far under the surface and not having enough time to make it back up. And no, not that black hole nested at the deepest part of this level's underwater hellhole, whatever that is, or whatever that leads to. Nope, none of those scared me the most as the monstrosity Nintendo decided to put in its fun, colorful, and what I thought vivid Mario adventure. What is it, you ask? I'm talking about none other than that damn eel. Alright, Pad, let's settle down for a quick sec, dude. Just chill out. Okay, for those who know what I'm talking about, and have played the Jolly Roger Bay level in Super Mario 64, there's no explanation needed, as I'm sure you had the same feelings I had when I was a kid and played that level. But maybe you're someone who hasn't played Super Mario 64, or wasn't a gamer in the mid-90s to early 2000s, or maybe you're not even a gamer at all. So you might be asking, what made this all oh so scary? So, as I previously stated, Super Mario 64 came out right at the time where playing these incredible 3D open-world games, shockingly in the comfort of your own living room with some Elio's pizza and chocolate milk, and one of those windy-ass sippy cups that was just ripe for the picking. Everything came out at the perfect time, and I was at the perfect age, and my mind was just open and imaginative enough. I was doomed. It was all a time of extreme newness, at least for me, as I grew up watching my dad playing primarily side-scrolling 2D games like Streets of Rage for the Sega Genesis, or Altered Beast for the Sega Master System, where exploring was pretty limited to basically a set track that spawned the same objects, same buildings, and same enemies every time. I knew what to expect. That being said, getting my hands on a Nintendo 64 controller, a joystick that allowed me to move in all different kinds of directions, blew my friggin' mind. I could go up, right? I can go down, I can go left, I can go right, or even at a slightly obtuse angle and side flip to a wall kick off this little thing and bam, I'm here somehow. It was something I've or none of us have ever seen before, and Super Mario 64 was really my first experience at this new video game technology. And more importantly, it was my first time experiencing something that didn't allow me to always expect what was going to happen next. What would happen or spawn or trigger by going through this door or jumping over this wall in this precise way. So Super Mario 64 starts off pretty fun, exciting, and happy-go-lucky to say the least. The bright, vivid colors upon entering this 3D universe, from the fluffy cotton candy looking trees to the wild and rainbow intensified color palette of the castle interior, seemed without a doubt comforting the first time entering it. It felt like I was about to set off on this magical journey where nothing can hurt me or nothing could stop me, and uplifting synth jovial music would always follow me at every step. I was ready to go, baby. And the first couple levels follow this theme and this charm and easiness as well. Like Bob-omb Battlefield, for example, the first level of the game, where squishing Goombas and throwing Bob-ombs were nothing but a breeze to Mario. Or even the next level, Whomp's Fortress, where this gigantic gray granola bar stood atop the coolest looking tower that only took 3 ground and pounds to kill. And to make it better, I'd collect these really really cute looking bright yellow stars every time I did something right. I had a blast. It was fun and easy, and that feeling of comfort and ease mostly came down to the fact that I had control. I clearly knew every time I grabbed one of those stars and exited the level, I was obviously doing something right, and I was in control of it all. Control, now that's a big thing as a child, as it made us feel really safe and comfortable, and goes hand in hand with the previous topic I talked about, knowing what to expect. The two go hand in hand. If you have control of your character and easy accessibility to defeating its surroundings to the fullest, you can expect what will happen next, something good obviously. Knowing you did this and allowing yourself to collect that star or climb over that tower, or furthermore win, it was all we wanted as a kid. We wanted to explore these new and unknown areas, but we always wanted to win. We always wanted to be in control of what those areas had, and we always wanted to just eventually know what was going on. An irony exemplified as the innocent, easy-minded youths we once were. But I want you to cut all that short, because in Super Mario 64, the joy and pleasure of leisurely strolling through levels and throwing little angry dudes was cut short, as legit, no joke, one of the first literal levels of the castle, right after Bob-omb Battlefield, right after Womp's Fortress, is a little level called Jolly Rogers Bay. Maybe little isn't the best word. So Jolly Rogers Bay was unlocked after obtaining 3 stars in the castle. You could go through the door and jump into the picture. Upon entering the room, already the vibe is shifted as we're in a way darker area compared to anything we've seen thus far into the game. Jumping into the picture, Mario enters this unidentified water level and drops right onto this small patch of sand. So okay, we're here. At first, we could still run around, we could collect some coins, etc. But it is only short-lived, as you pretty quickly realize the only way you can progress, explore, and discover whatever this level has to offer requires you to get in that damn water. I remember one quick note. I always thought as a kid, like, how did they come back on top of water and their clothes were always perfectly dry? From the surface of the water, we don't know how deep it is. What if I go under and immediately see nothing but dark blue? What if there's a giant fish waiting to eat me already with its mouth already wide open? Not even underwater yet, and we could already see this concept of control and expectation slowly evaporating away from us. The ball is officially in the court of the video game now. After a while of pondering if this is the right move or if you just want to throw in a different video game, you go, you know what, we're going under the water, and you stick Mario's head under the water. At first, we could see the slick edges of this mountainous underwater terrain we find ourselves in, with poorly textured graphics that really just show it as one universal plane, because the Nintendo 64 didn't really, couldn't really generate anything too crazy, so yeah, we got this like metal looking mountain. But more importantly, and definitely more frightening, as you turn around, the immediate unsettling sight of what seems to be a never-ending underwater abyss lies right in front of us. You keep swimming and the ground suddenly drops and invites you to this giant, super deep hole. I mean, could it be really that bad? You're Mario, for God's sake. You can jump like a billion feet in the air, despite the fact that your extremely small and physically concerning legs defy any sort of required anatomy for higher jumping. But yeah, whatever, you got this, right? It's just a video game. You're the hero. You can punch and kick and do this and that. But as you keep going deeper and deeper, you soon realize you can't do all those things, and that's when the frustration starts to set in. How are you going to survive against whatever enemies await you without being able to punch or kick? Or how are you going to be able to swim back to the surface without Mario's immense jumping and speed that on land levels, for example, you could get from one area to another in just mere seconds? Too scared and realizing you're going to actually have to plan your route before seeing what's at the bottom of this creepy water hole, you swim back to the surface to regain your breath so you don't die and have that menacing Bowser laugh take up your whole screen. But on the way up, your camera just turns slightly enough, and to boot, you're just close enough in range so that the 3D graphics render. You see quite possibly the scariest, freakiest, and most devilish looking 3D rendered set of polygons your once friendly N64 could possibly ever conjure. Those teeth, its blood red skin, and hyper intensified wide open eyes, the friggin' eel. And it has officially become the scariest thing you've ever seen on that little box called a television. What's even more unnerving is how it's situated, right? Its body, or whatever it may be, because you don't even know if it has a body, seems to reside in the wall behind it, casing itself away from you, and you can't even properly judge what it could possibly look like behind it. Just how long is this damn eel? I remember the first time I saw this thing, I threw my controller, ran to the N64, and shut it off. I'd like died inside. And it doesn't end there. The fear lasted way after the power switch was flicked. Let me tell you, like, as a kid, we had one of those inflatable pools on the deck that always had leaves in it in the, when summer was finally turning to fall and it was coming to a close. You know exactly what I'm talking about, where the water was like always semi-brown and dirty because no one actually cared to take the leaves out or clean it. And you'd always be like, oh, that's so gross. But you went in it anyway because you didn't care. But nope, not that first summer when I played Super Mario 64. Not even in a 2 feet deep pool of water. I was not stepping in that thing. I don't know if that eel was in the water. And to boot all of this, right? Like in the beginning, you see the eel just chilling in the wall. So at least he's hanging out there. The thing escapes. It leaves. It leaves that home. It goes, bruh, I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm gonna go swimming. And you don't even get any warning that it left or some cutscene showing it's gonna happen or some cute little stereotypical Mario 64 character walking up to you going like, Mario, beware, the eel just left its house. Nope, it's just out. It just goes out. You just jump into the world at one point and it's just patrolling. It's just waiting for you to enter its radius and kill Mario once and for all. And on top of all this, Nintendo, you put a star on its tail that I gotta get. And all this fear, right, it all boils down to one simple thing. A stripping of the formula we concocted in the beginning. Control plus expectations equals comfort. The ultimate combination of childhood bliss and happiness. It was being stripped away from our very hands. You didn't know how the eel appeared, why it was there, how to swim away from it fast enough, avoid it, or kill it, or maybe even you could make it your partner or something and it could be on your team. All this not knowingness combined with the void-inducing surroundings it lived in, gradually decreasing health bar, and limited access to using Mario to his full potential, we were put into survival mode and would often panic to getting our character, Mario in this specific situation, back to the surface of these types of water levels onto land where we had more control over our character. Hence, the avoidance of entering or waiting to the last second to do water levels as kids became a common norm and conversation piece at the playground or lunch table. We bathed in the comfort of having control and knowing what to expect at every turn and corner as a kid. But the atmospheric terror and unavoidable phobia of deep water most of us had at a young age and still pretty much do, stripped this all away from us. We lost control, and whatever was next on our adventure was now unknown. And playing games before this, like I said, a lot of 2D scrollers where the same enemies would spawn at the same exact time, you knew what was going to happen, and it was also like kind of muscle memory after a while. But once the Nintendo 64 came out and all these 3D rendered polygon games came out, we just lost that control and everything became a little more unknown. Underwater levels in video games were one of the many things that shook our imagination and made us feel like everything might not be alright. I know for me specifically, another thing that just shattered me as a kid was being in an underwater level, trying to swim to the surface and having some sort of object or terrain on top of me, preventing me from getting to the surface safely. I would immediately imagine myself into the game, into the shoes of the character I'm controlling or thought I had control over, and be in this situation of hopelessness and certainty that I was gonna die here, alone and never to be found in the jagged-edged graphics, low-quality, polygon-rendered virtual abyss. What were some underwater levels you were terrified of as a kid? Or better yet, what are just some moments or areas in any video game that made you feel inexplicably disturbed? The mind has an incredible capacity for imaginative thinking, and having access to video games as a kid solidified that to an extreme degree. Thanks for watching. Much love, your boy, Pat Chennington.